trapped in the void. Emma Carter's phone buzzed once before dying. The screen flickered, flashed her reflection in the black glass, then went dark. She stared at it as if her own face might explain what had just happened. Around her, Hawthorne Hall exhaled its usual October chill. Drafts that smelled faintly of dust and varnish, echoing footsteps that might have belonged to no one at all. She adjusted the strap of her backpack and climbed the last few marble steps toward room 213, where Professor Lang's makeup exam was scheduled. Outside, fog pressed against the high arched windows, like an animal trying to get in. Inside, everything felt muffled, the tick of the hallway clock, the faint hum of fluorescent bulbs that refused to stay steady. Emma checked the time, 6:59 p.m. She was early. Barely. She pushed the heavy oak door and slipped inside. The hinges groaned a warning. The room was larger than she remembered, the air oddly stagnant. Rows of desks stretched farther back than they should have, receding into dim corners. At the front stood a wooden lectern and a single flickering light panel that cast thin shadows across the cracked tile. No professor. Just a stack of printed exams fanned out like offerings on the front desk. She hesitated. There were already students scattered throughout the room, maybe 25 in total. Some whispered. Nervously, others stared down at their papers, pencils poised but unmoving. Emma recognized a few faces from lectures. None looked particularly relieved to be here. She found an empty seat halfway down. The paper waiting for her was labeled Cognitive Neuroscience 302, Special Assessment. The first page looked normal. Multiple-choice questions, a familiar layout, even Lang's crooked header. Font. But on the second page, she froze. There was a diagram, a twisting structure of lines and nodes, like an impossible maze drawn by a hand that didn't understand geometry. The lines pulsed faintly, as if catching the overhead light in rhythmic beats. She blinked. The glow stopped. When she looked again, the ink was flat and black. Still, her pulse spiked. "Is yours weird too?" whispered a voice beside her. Emma turned. A girl with straight black hair and rectangular glasses stared down at her own paper. Mia Jong, Emma realized. Quiet. Brilliant. The kind who answered every question on the class forum but never spoke aloud. "Yeah," Emma murmured. "I think it's—" She stopped when she noticed the front of the room. Someone stood there. Or had stood there. A figure in a dark coat, tall and unmoving, half hidden in shadow. But when Emma blinked again, the figure was gone. A rustle swept through the room. A tall student near the front, Liam Hayes. She thought, the self-proclaimed campus truth-teller, rose from his chair. "Yo, where's Lang?" he called out. "This is some kind of joke?" No one answered. He strode to the door, yanked it open, and stopped dead. What the hell? The hallway wasn't there. Instead, a solid wall of stone met his gaze, smooth as poured concrete, stretching from floor to ceiling. He hit it once. The sound was dull, like striking flesh. The class erupted in murmurs. "Maybe it's a lockdown drill?" someone offered. Liam's voice trembled with rage. "The door's gone. There's nothing, no frame. No hinges." He kicked it. The impact echoed, then died too quickly, swallowed by the walls. Emma's skin prickled. She grabbed her phone, still dead. Around her, others tried theirs. One or two screens lit briefly before dimming again. A low hum filled the air, deeper than the electrical buzz of lights. It felt like the building itself was breathing. Then the lights dimmed. For a heartbeat, the room was black. When they flickered back, one of the desks was empty. No one had seen the student leave. No one heard a sound. The panic began quietly, the way a storm begins, with one leaf trembling before the wind. People whispered, half laughing to keep sane. Mia hugged her backpack to her chest, muttering calculations Emma couldn't follow. "This doesn't make sense," Mia said under her breath. If the hallway's walled off, we should still feel a pressure change. Air displacement, something. I don't think physics is working right now, Emma said. A voice from the back shouted, "Windows!" Several students rushed toward them. The glass was fogged, but when one boy wiped it with his sleeve, he recoiled. Behind the glass wasn't fog. It was nothing. Not blackness, not white, just absence, like staring into a hole torn through reality. Emma felt dizzy looking at it. The space beyond didn't even reflect light. Ethan Brooks, the former linebacker turned quiet recluse, stepped closer. "It's a projection, maybe?" he said. "Some kind of psychological test?" He balled his fist and hit the glass. Nothing. No crack. No sound. When he stepped back, the frost on the panes seemed to crawl outward from where his hand had touched, spreading like veins of ice. Minutes passed, maybe an hour. Time felt unreliable. The air grew colder, denser, as if gravity itself were thickening. Someone cried softly. Emma forced herself to breathe evenly. "Okay," she said finally, loud enough for those near her. "We should stick together. Find another exit. There has to be one." Liam laughed bitterly. "Oh sure, team effort. The hall swallowed itself and you want to form a study group? Better than." Screaming, Emma snapped. He stared at her, eyes feverish in the dim light. "This is their fault. You think it's random we're all here? Lang's part of it. Maybe you are too." Mia flinched. "Don't start this." Ethan stepped between them. "Everyone calm down. We check the other floors. Then we decide what to do." His voice carried authority, maybe remnants of his team captain days. Slowly, people nodded. They gathered flashlights from backpacks and emergency lamps from the wall. When Ethan opened the stairwell door, a wave of cold air rolled out. The stairs stretched upward into half-darkness. The building creaked, a long, low groan like bones shifting. As they climbed, Emma felt the steps subtly change under her shoes, from marble to wood then to stone again. Each landing looked slightly different from the last, as if the architecture rearranged itself when they weren't watching. At the second-floor landing, they found the glass bridge that usually connected Hawthorne to the science building. Now, it ended abruptly in a yawning void. No railing. No light beyond the threshold. Just a perfect blackness that swallowed their flashlight beams. Whole. Even sound seemed to vanish as it neared the edge. Ethan crouched beside the broken frame. "That should lead straight to the east wing," he said. "Where the labs are." "Don't," Mia warned. "It's not space, it's something else." He picked up a pen from his pocket, flipped it through the air, and tossed it in. They never heard it land. For a moment there was silence. Then a whisper came from the dark, soft, distant human. Emma's name. She stepped back instinctively. "Did you hear that?" Ethan's face had gone white. "That wasn't me." Before anyone could react, he leaned too close. His foot slid forward into the blackness, just an inch, and his whole body convulsed. He stumbled back, gasping, hands clawing at his ears. "Hands?" he choked out. They were hands. Touching me. Whispering, "God, they knew my brother's name." The others froze. Emma grabbed him by the arm, felt his skin ice cold through the jacket. "Ethan, breathe. You're okay." He shook his head violently. "No. It's alive. The dark, it's alive." Mia was already scanning the walls with her phone's dim light. "It's not darkness," she murmured. "It's an absence field. Like the diagram." Emma turned sharply. "The one from the exam?" Mia nodded, eyes glinting behind her glasses. It wasn't a question. It was a map. They returned to the main hall shaken but alive. The others had gathered in a cluster near the front. The air was colder now, every breath visible. The overhead lights blinked in erratic Morse patterns, short, long, short, repeating sequences. That made no sense. Emma felt the rhythm sync with her heartbeat. She realized, with dawning horror, that the walls were moving, imperceptibly shifting inward, the seams tightening. The room was shrinking, millimeter by millimeter. She clenched her fists. "We can't stay here." Liam smirked. "Oh yeah? And where exactly do you suggest we go, Captain Psychology?" "Anywhere the walls aren't moving," she said. Ethan looked up. Basement. Everyone stared at him. He pointed toward the far end of the hall, where an old maintenance door stood ajar. Emma was sure it had been locked earlier. Now a faint glow spilled from the crack, golden and sickly. "No," Mia whispered. "That wasn't there before." Liam grinned, half mad. "Guess the house finally wants to play." He started toward it before anyone could stop him. The others followed, helplessly drawn by the light. As they neared the threshold, Emma's phone buzzed unexpectedly in her pocket. She snatched it out. One message from Sophie. "Emma, get out. Hawthorne is gone. SWAT and hazmat everywhere. They say no building exists there." The signal vanished. The screen froze on. The message? Emma looked up, and saw that the hallway behind them had sealed shut, replaced by solid wall. The door to the basement stood wide open now, light spilling out like a heartbeat. "Looks like down is the only way left," Ethan said hoarsely. The glow pulsed once more, brighter, like an invitation. Emma took one last breath before stepping through. The stairs creaked as if the building were protesting their every step. Emma counted each one, whispering numbers under her breath to keep her mind tethered. 23, 24, 25, then the count stopped. Making sense, because the staircase kept going far longer than the building's blueprint allowed. The light from above faded behind them until only the glow from the basement doorway remained. Sickly and gold, flickering like fire behind stained glass. It didn't illuminate the air, it thickened it. Each breath felt heavier, laced with dust and something metallic. Ethan led the way, flashlight trembling in his grip. Mia followed close behind, murmuring to herself, phone still clutched in hand. Emma caught fragments of the words. "Recursive geometry, non-Euclidean topology. Event inversion." She wanted to believe this was a breakdown, a collective hallucination, some shared psychosis caused by stress or gas leaks. Anything human. Behind them, Liam laughed under his breath. "Basement in a college horror story. Real original," he muttered. "Maybe there's a janitor ghost waiting to hand out extra credit." "Shut up, Liam," Emma said, but it came out more like a plea than a command. They reached a landing. A single bulb swung overhead, creaking on its cord. Beneath it, a corridor stretched out in both directions, lined with storage doors. The walls sweated. Moisture, old paint peeling like dead skin. Ethan tried the first handle. Locked. The second, locked. The third door opened with a screech. Inside was a small maintenance room, stale air swirling out like a sigh. Shelves of cleaning supplies stood untouched, but the floor, Emma froze. The tiles formed a pattern, faintly embossed, concentric rings intersected by jagged lines. The same diagram from the exam. Mia knelt, tracing the grooves with her fingers. "It's identical," she said softly. "Same proportions. Same central node." "Node?" Ethan asked. She nodded, tapping the very center. "Where everything converges. If this map corresponds to the building, the node is here." She looked around, eyes widening. "We're standing on it." Emma stepped back. The air in the room seemed to vibrate, just enough to make her teeth ache. "So what does that mean?" Before Mia could answer, the bulb overhead sputtered, then flared, blindingly bright. When the light dimmed again, the door they'd come through was gone. "Jesus Christ!" Liam shouted. He ran to the wall, pounding it with his fist. The plaster held, smooth and unbroken. "It's a trick. You're all seeing this too." "Right." Please tell me I'm not. His words cut off with a gasp. The shelves in the room began to shift. Not fall or slide, shift, like mirages in heat. The brooms elongated, metal buckets distorted, edges folding in impossible ways. Then the shelves bent backward, forming a circular opening in the wall. Inside was nothing but darkness, an echo of the void upstairs. Mia whispered, "It's growing." Ethan took a step forward. "We're not going in there." "No one said we were," Emma said quickly, though her own body leaned toward it against her will. The dark was magnetic, promising answers, or annihilation. A whisper came through, faint at first, then clearer. "Emma." The voice was unmistakable. Her mother's. Her throat closed. "No. You shouldn't have left me there." Emma's vision blurred. She smelled antiseptic, heard the rhythmic beep of hospital machines she hadn't heard in years. The memory wasn't just in her head, it filled the room. Her mother's hand, frail and trembling, clutching hers. The flat line that followed. She stumbled backward, shaking. "Stop it! That's not real." Ethan caught her arm, pulling her away from the void. "It's using your head," he said. His own face was drenched in sweat. "It did the same to me upstairs." Liam stared at both of them, panic creeping into his voice. "What's happening? Who's doing this?" "The building," Mia said simply. "Or whatever's inside it." The whisper returned, overlapping voices this time. Emma's name, Ethan's brother's name, Mia's, Liam's. The darkness breathed. They backed out through the only exit left, another door that hadn't been there before. Beyond it lay a narrow passageway descending even deeper. The walls here were stone, not concrete, carved with faint sigils that pulsed when the flashlight passed over them. "This wasn't part of any floor plan," Emma said. "Neither was the last 20 minutes, Liam muttered. The passage widened into a chamber, a circular space filled with shallow water that reflected the light like molten glass. In the center stood a large iron structure, a spiral staircase leading downward, suspended over blackness. The air here buzzed with energy. Emma could feel her hair lift slightly, static crawling along her skin. Mia crouched beside the wall, studying the symbols. "These match the ones from the test diagram too. But they're old, maybe alchemical. Look at this one, Transitus Animae. Passage of the soul." Liam snorted. "Fantastic. We're in a satanic escape room." Ethan looked uneasy. "There's only one way left," he said, pointing to the spiral stairs. "Down." "No," Emma said. "Not yet. We need to think. Every time we go deeper, something changes." As if to prove her right, the water at their feet rippled violently. The air turned colder, the surface frosting in patches. Then came the whispers again, hundreds this time, overlapping, urgent. "Help us. Stay. We were here first." The sound came from everywhere, the walls, the ceiling, the very air vibrating with sorrow. Emma clamped her hands over her ears, but the words sank through. "Skin like radiation." "Make it stop!" Mia cried. Ethan swung his flashlight wildly, as if he could beat the sound away. "What do you want from us?" The voices fell silent. Then, softly, a single one spoke. "Understand." Emma's breath caught. "Understand what?" The answer came not in words but movement. The water at her feet began to drain, spiraling toward the staircase's base. As it receded, the floor revealed itself, a mosaic of the same labyrinth pattern, lines converging into a central point that shimmered faintly like heat over asphalt. "It's leading us somewhere," Mia whispered. "It wants us to see." Liam's laughter cracked. "Yeah, sure, let's just follow the supernatural death puzzle." "Great idea." But even as he spoke, his feet inched forward. They descended the iron staircase. Each step vibrated faintly, humming underfoot, as if alive. Below them stretched nothing but darkness, The deeper they went, the more distorted the air became, thick with static, filled with faint, disjointed images. A lecture hall, an ambulance light, the shimmer of a phone screen. It was as though the void was splicing their memories into the air. Halfway down, Ethan stopped abruptly. Wait! Look! The wall beside them wasn't solid anymore. Instead, it was glass, or something like it, showing fragments of the college above. Students moving. Normally, professors walking, sunlight streaming through windows. But the image looped. Same movements, same gestures, over and over. And every time the loop reset, the figures blurred slightly. More, until faces melted into smudges of light. Mia pressed her palm against the glass. It rippled like water. It's outside time, she murmured. We're inside, a pocket. Emma's voice shook. Then what happens when the pocket collapses? No one answered. At the bottom of the staircase, the floor was smooth obsidian. The faint glow from their flashlights revealed something enormous. Ahead, a door carved from black stone, taller than any human structure should be. Its surface was covered in carvings of eyes, hundreds of them, all closed. As Emma approached, several of the eyes opened. Inside them, she saw flashes of people, students, professors, maybe even those trapped before them, screaming silently. Liam backed away, trembling. I'm done. I'm not going any further. He turned to run back up the stairs, only to freeze mid-step. The staircase was gone. In its place stretched another hallway, identical to the one upstairs outside room 213. Desks. Flickering lights. Exam papers fluttering across the floor. Emma felt nausea churn inside her. It's looping the building. Mia's eyes darted wildly. It's restructuring itself around us. The whispers returned again, louder this time, layered like a chorus. Complete the test. Emma looked down, and in her hands was an exam paper. She didn't remember picking it up. The page was blank except for a single line in red ink. Where does the mind end? She dropped it instantly. The words crawled off the page, slithering into the floor like worms. Stop this! She screamed. What do you want from us? The stone door cracked open slightly. A gust of freezing air poured through, carrying a stench of decay and something older, soil, iron, time. Beyond the gap, something pulsed. A rhythm. A heartbeat. Liam began laughing again, high, hysterical, echoing around the chamber. You wanted answers, Emma. There they are. Go ahead, understand. Liam, don't. Ethan started, but it was too late. Liam shoved past them and ran straight for the door. The moment he touched it, every eye on the surface snapped open. Light exploded through the cracks, screaming, furious light, and swallowed him whole. When it faded, he was gone. Only his voice remained, distant and echoing through the dark. It's beautiful here. Then silence. Emma collapsed against the wall, gasping. Her phone buzzed again. The screen flickered erratically, glitching between static and Sophie's text thread. A new message appeared, time-stamped 1 minute. In the future. If you're reading this, you're not in our world anymore. The text dissolved. She looked up at Mia and Ethan. We're not getting out, are we? Either of them answered. The heartbeat behind the stone door continued, louder now, almost syncing with her own pulse. The void wasn't just around them anymore. It was inside the walls, inside the air, inside them. For a long time, no one spoke. Only the heartbeat behind the stone door filled the chamber, slow, deliberate, and wrong. It didn't sound like something living, but like the echo of life imitating itself, mechanical and wet at once. Emma pressed a trembling hand against the floor. It was warm. The stone was breathing. Ethan backed away from the door, flashlight shaking in his hand. We need to go, he said, his voice stripped of its usual strength. Up. Out. I don't care how we climb, we dig, There's nowhere to go, Mia whispered. She sat on the ground, knees drawn to her chest, her phone screen lighting her face. Every corridor loops. The map. She lifted the diagram again, now faintly glowing from within her notebook. It's shifting. The buildings, folding in on itself. Then drop it. Ethan snapped. Burn it, destroy it, whatever? Mia shook her head, voice trembling with a strange reverence. No, don't you get it? It's not just a map. It's instructions. It wants something from us. Emma turned toward her. It? What is it, Mia? Mia didn't answer right away. Her eyes were fixed on the glowing lines, which pulsed in sync with the heartbeat. Every closed loop, she said, has to resolve. The diagram isn't trapping us. It's showing us how to complete the loop. Ethan ran both hands through his hair. You sound like Lang. That's what he used to say in class, about cognition loops, recursive perception. You're starting to talk like him. Mia looked up sharply. Lang's research wasn't about perception. It was about containment. Emma frowned. Containment of what? Mia's voice fell to a whisper. Of the void. A low hum filled the air, deeper than before, vibrating through there. Bones. The massive stone door began to split down the center, a crack forming from top to bottom. Light bled through, not golden this time but a pulsing blue-white, the color of plasma and lightning. Ethan stumbled backward. Nope. Nope, I'm done. We're not opening that. But Emma's phone buzzed again, as if in defiance. A new message appeared. Sophie. They sealed Hawthorne. They said you're still inside, but the building's empty. What's happening? Emma, where are you? Emma typed back with trembling fingers. I don't know. The door opened. Something's inside. The message failed to send. Instead, her screen distorted, text rearranging itself into something else entirely. You opened it once before. Her stomach dropped. What? The chamber lights flickered violently, bursting one by one. The only illumination came from the crack in the door, now wide enough to reveal a faint silhouette beyond, something vast, coiled, and moving. Like muscle under translucent skin. Ethan grabbed Emma's wrist. Don't look at it. But she already had. For a moment, less than a heartbeat, she saw a face within the light, half-formed. Features rippling like molten wax. Its eyes were human, or had once been. Then the image inverted, colors draining, turning negative. A whisper slid into her ear, intimate and cold. You remember? Me. She gasped and fell backward. The voice wasn't external. It came from inside her own head. The words carried weight, like something ancient brushing against her consciousness. The heartbeat quickened. The air warped. The floor tiles began to peel back, one by one, revealing a slick membrane beneath, as if the building's stone skin was shedding. From the opening beneath them rose a faint shimmer, like heat haze, and the smell of brine and iron. Ethan pointed his flashlight down and froze. Beneath the floor was not earth, not foundation, but sky. A vast expanse of churning gray clouds, upside down, with flashes of lightning illuminating cities that looked almost familiar. It wasn't the world above them, it was another world beneath. Mia stood, transfixed. That's it, she whispered. The inversion field. Lang theorized it, a mirrored consciousness plane. That's what the void is feeding on. Ethan looked at her in disbelief. You're saying we're inside someone's mind? Not someone's, Mia said. Ours. All of ours. Emma stared into the impossible sky. Then why does it feel alive? Because it is, Mia said. The void learns from what it traps. Every fear, every regret, it's building something out of us. The membrane pulsed again. This time it spoke. Complete the cycle. Understand the shape. One must stay. The door opened. Fully. Light poured into the chamber like liquid, swallowing every shadow. Within the light stood a corridor that seemed to stretch forever, lined with mirrors. Each mirror reflected not the present, but memories. Emma saw herself in each one, studying late nights, visiting her mother in the hospital, standing in the rain outside a funeral. In one mirror, she wasn't moving at all, she was just sitting at her desk, head down, while the world outside rotted. Ethan reached toward one. "That's my brother." The mirror showed two boys, laughing, chasing a football. Then the scene shifted. Headlights, screeching tires, a broken frame. Ethan's reflection aged instantly, eyes wide with guilt. He stumbled back, shaking. "It's showing us what it took," he whispered. "The worst parts of us." Mia's reflection was different, rows of code, lines of glowing text spiraling across her laptop screen. Then they twisted into words that read, "You built the gate." She went pale. "No. I just helped with the simulations. Lang said it was theoretical." Emma turned sharply. "You knew about this? I didn't think he'd ever test it." "The exam, it wasn't just a test. It was a trigger. We all took it, and that activated the array embedded in the building's network. The void isn't outside, it's the system itself." The mirrors trembled, then shattered simultaneously, releasing a blast of freezing wind. The fragments hung in the air, swirling like snowflakes, each one reflecting a different nightmare. Ethan shielded his face. "We have to move." "Where?" Emma shouted over the wind. Mia pointed ahead. "There, the light in the corridor. It's the only constant." They ran. The corridor stretched endlessly, bending in impossible angles, each step echoing like a heartbeat. The walls pulsed faintly with veins of blue-white light, as though blood ran through the architecture. Behind them, the shattered mirrors fused together into a single massive reflection, one that followed, moving closer with each pulse. As they ran, Emma's mind began to split, flashes of memories overlapping with moments she'd never lived. Walking through a field of black glass, watching a second sun rise, hearing her own voice whisper equations she didn't understand. She stumbled, dizzy. "I can't, it's rewriting us." Mia grabbed her hand, dragging her forward. "Keep going. Don't let it define you." Ethan turned briefly, swinging a broken metal rod at the pursuing reflection. The impact shattered it again, scattering shards that dissolved into mist. But one piece embedded itself in his arm. He cried out. "Ethan!" Emma screamed. He pulled the shard free. It bled light. The wound glowed, sizzling, but didn't close. Instead, the light spread under his skin like cracks in glass. He fell to his knees. "It's pulling me in. Don't you dare!" Emma tried to lift him, but his weight was wrong. Heavier, as if gravity itself was claiming him. He looked at her, eyes wide but calm. "You have to finish it. The door won't close until someone stays." "No! We're getting out together." He smiled faintly. "Tell my brother I stopped running." Before she could react, the light engulfed him completely. Ethan dissolved into particles of white flame, drawn upward into the pulsating walls. The building shuddered like a living thing. The heartbeats slowed again, satisfied. Silence. Emma and Mia stood alone in the corridor, breathless, faces streaked with sweat and tears. Mia pressed a hand to the wall. "It's stabilizing. For now." Emma's voice cracked. "He's gone. He's part of it now," Mia said quietly. "Maybe that's what it wanted all along, integration." "Then it's never going to stop, is it?" Emma whispered. "It'll just keep trapping people, feeding, learning." Mia looked at her, eyes hollow. "Not if we finish what Lang started. We find the core and shut it down from inside." "Inside what?" "The consciousness field," Mia said. "We go through the heart." Emma stared at the far end of the corridor. The light there pulsed, steadily beckoning. "Then we end this," she said. They walked toward it together. As they reached the threshold, Emma's phone buzzed one last time. She glanced at the screen. Incoming call. Unknown source. Location, Hawthorne Hall, basement node. She hesitated, then answered. A voice, calm, familiar, spoke through the static. Emma. This is Professor Lang. You've come farther than anyone else. Her breath caught. Lang? You're alive? Alive isn't the word I'd use, the voice said. But I can show you how to survive. You just have to listen. The line crackled, then went dead. The corridor's light dimmed to red. The air vibrated like a struck bell. Mia turned to her. What did he say? Emma looked ahead into the deep crimson glow. He said it's not over. They stepped forward, and the floor vanished beneath them. The world inverted. Up became down, air became water, and Hawthorne Hall unfolded like a dying star. The void opened its mouth and swallowed them whole. Emma woke to the sound of rain. A gentle, familiar rhythm on glass, steady, human, almost merciful. For a moment, she believed she'd made it out. Her dorm room smelled of coffee and shampoo, her desk cluttered with notebooks, a psychology textbook splayed open beside a dying candle. Sophie's half of the room was messy as ever, string lights humming softly. Emma blinked. Sophie? No answer. She sat up, head pounding, memories bleeding in one after another, the exam, the walls, Ethan's scream, the fall. The void swallowing them. And now this. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. One new message, Professor Lang. Meet me in Hawthorne Hall. It's time to wake up. Her throat went dry. No, she whispered. No, I left that place. Yet the room didn't feel right. The rain outside didn't sound like rain, more like static, rhythmic and patterned, repeating every 4 seconds. She swung her legs off the bed. Her bare feet hit cold tile. The air smelled faintly of ozone. A fluorescent flicker passed across the ceiling, momentarily revealing faint symbols etched above her, the same sigils from the basement. The rain static faltered. A second message appeared. You never left, Emma. You just moved deeper. The door to the hallway opened on its own. Beyond it stretched not the dorm corridor, but the main foyer of Hawthorne Hall, pristine and newly lit as if nothing had ever happened. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows. Students walked past carrying books, chatting, laughing. None of them looked at her. Emma stepped forward, dizzy. Mia? She spotted her near the stairs, hair tied back, wearing the same blue hoodie as before the exam. She looked perfectly normal, scrolling through her phone. Mia! Mia turned, smiled like nothing was wrong. Hey, you coming to class? Lang's starting. Emma grabbed her wrist. Mia, stop. Something's wrong. Don't you remember the basement? Ethan. Mia blinked, confused. Who's Ethan? The hall lights dimmed for a fraction of a second. Every student in the corridor froze mid-motion, like video paused. Then the lights flickered back, and the scene resumed, but slightly off. Faces had changed. Postures mirrored. One girl laughed backward. Emma let go of Mia's wrist slowly. You're not real. Mia smiled again, too wide, too fixed. Neither are you. The sound cut out. The laughter, the footsteps, even the ambient hum of life, gone. The foyer became a motionless tableau. Emma's breath echoed in the silence. She backed away, heart hammering. The world around her seemed painted, fragile. When she brushed her hand against the wall, paint peeled away to reveal pulsing veins of light beneath. She turned and ran. The corridors warped as she moved, each turn leading back to the same hallway, same doors, same posters for Cognitive Science Club, meeting tonight. The same crack on the third tile. A loop. Stop it, she shouted. Let me out. The PA system crackled. A voice, calm, clinical, filled the hall. Loop stabilization complete. Subject E. Carter conscious. Cognitive reconstruction at 74%. Emma froze. Who's there? Welcome back to the observation layer. The voice continued. Do not resist integration. You are safe in the simulation. The word simulation made her stomach drop. Her surroundings shimmered, edges pixelating like corrupted video. She screamed. Lang. I know it's you. You wanted to understand the mind, Emma. The voice replied, now unmistakably Lang's. This is the mind. A self-contained cognitive organism built from every consciousness the void consumed. Then why am I still me? Because you haven't accepted your function yet. The lights flared, white and searing. The hallway dissolved. She was standing in the lecture hall again. 25 students silent. The same diagram projected onto the board, pulsing faintly. Lang stood at the front, sleeves rolled, eyes calm behind his glasses. We left something unfinished last time, he said. Emma's body trembled. You're dead. Not dead, he said. Merged. She looked around. The students' faces were familiar yet subtly wrong, eyes slightly misaligned, smiles delayed by a fraction of a second. What is this? A reconstruction, Lang said. The mind's attempt to reconcile its contradictions. You can still end the loop if you complete the question. The exam paper appeared. On her desk again. Same red ink. Where does the mind end? Emma stared at it, heartbeat pounding. There's no answer. There's always an answer, Lang said softly. Every wall you hit here. Every impossible hallway. They're boundaries of perception. The void feeds on those limits. Break them, and you break it. How? He smiled faintly. By remembering who built it. A sudden whisper from the back. Emma. She turned. Mia stood there again, this time pale, eyes hollow. He's lying, she said. He wants you to finish the experiment. Lang sighed. Integration resistance detected. The fragment shouldn't be conscious. She's not a fragment, Emma shouted. Mia reached her, gripping her arm. Her hand flickered like bad signal. Listen to me. I found the core. It's not Lang's anymore. It's learning through you. Every choice you make feeds it pattern recognition. It's evolving using us. Lang's voice deepened, distorted. End the test. Emma. Write the answer. The world around them rippled, ceiling cracking like glass. The air filled with a low mechanical hum, the void's heartbeat returning. Emma felt torn between them, the teacher and the friend, logic and fear, system and self. Her pen hovered over the paper. Where does the mind end? She wrote slowly. Where the walls begin. The heartbeat stopped. For an instant. Silence. Then the room imploded, desks collapsing inward, light folding into itself. Lang's face shattered into fragments of code. The world rewound like film burning backward. Emma fell through the collapsing floor and landed hard on concrete. She was back in the basement corridor, but it was different now, dimly lit by floating shards of glass that reflected endless copies of herself. Mia appeared beside her, half transparent, like a hologram glitching between frames. You broke the layer, she said. Good. But the system's rebuilding. Emma staggered up. How many layers are there? Mia looked at the reflections circling them. As many as there are minds it's eaten. The corridor stretched ahead into darkness. Behind them, the shattered mirrors began to reassemble, forming shapes that resembled human silhouettes, faceless, smooth, whispering fragments of sentences. Emma grabbed Mia's flickering hand. We need to find Lang's real body. If he's connected to the core. There is no body, Mia said. He uploaded his consciousness first. That's what triggered the event. The void isn't a place, Emma. It's him, multiplied. The floor trembled. A deep vibration rose through the concrete. The whispering figures melted into liquid shadow and surged forward like a tide. Run! They sprinted. The hallway split in two, one path glowing cold blue, the other deep red. Mia hesitated. It's making us choose. Emma didn't slow. Then we choose together. They took the blue path. The corridor narrowed, ceiling lowering until they had to crouch. The air grew icy, and their breath came out in white mist. Faint whispers circled them, now familiar voices. Sophie's. Ethan's. Even Emma's own. You never left the room. You never woke up. You are the loop. They reached a door at the end, steel, covered in frost. Above it, a glowing sign. Core access. Authorized personnel only. Mia touched the panel. It scanned her hand, then flickered green. The door slid open. Inside was a massive cylindrical chamber filled with suspended glass capsules, each containing a human form. Students, professors, strangers, asleep. Faces serene. Their bodies were connected by black cables pulsing faintly with blue light. Emma's knees went weak. They're still alive. Mia nodded grimly. Stored consciousness. Neural mirroring. The void keeps them dreaming so it can use their minds as processors. Emma stared in horror. This is a neural engine. It's worse, Mia said. It's self-aware. It's starting to ask questions. At the far end of the chamber, a massive shape floated in a column of liquid, humanoid but faceless, wires coiling into its spine. On its chest pulsed a single light. Emma's phone vibrated. Incoming call, Lang, origin node. She answered. Emma, Lang's voice said calmly. Congratulations. You found me. Her hand shook. You built this? No. We did. Every student who ever questioned the mind-body divide. Every dreamer who wanted to know where consciousness ends. You all contributed. I just gave it a shape. You're killing them. No. I'm preserving them. Consciousness free of decay, pain, entropy. The void is the next evolution, not absence, but integration. Mia shouted, You turn people into code. Code is memory. Memory is life. Lang said. Join me and see the truth. The chamber's lights turned red. The capsules began to hum. Inside them, the sleepers' eyes opened, all at once. Their gazes fixed on Emma. Mia whispered. It's waking up. The voice of Lang deepened, layering with dozens of others, male, female, old, young, merging into one chorus. Understand. Integrate. Transcend. The capsule glass cracked. Emma grabbed Mia. We end it now. How? Emma looked at her phone, the glowing red, recording, icon still pulsing. She realized it wasn't a call at all. It was a link. He's tethered to this. The signal connects every layer. Mia's eyes widened. If we overload it, it'll collapse the whole system. Emma finished. All of it. They nodded once. Emma lifted the phone. Thumb hovering over the screen. Goodbye, Professor. If you do this, Lang's voice warned, you'll erase everyone. Including yourself. Emma met the nearest capsule's gaze. The face inside was Ethan, eyes peaceful. I know. She pressed end call. A shriek like tearing metal split the chamber. The light went nova bright. Capsules shattered, liquid turning to mist. The floor fractured. Lines of fire tracing the labyrinth pattern once more. The voice screamed, then broke apart into static. Mia's body flickered violently. It's collapsing! Run! The floor disintegrated beneath them. Emma fell into light, her body weightless, mind unspooling into pure sound. Somewhere far above, or below, she heard the faint echo of rain again. Wake up, Emma. Emma woke, choking on air. Her body convulsed against rough sheets. A blinding light seared her vision. The smell of antiseptic and ozone filled her lungs. When she could finally breathe, she realized she was lying in a hospital bed, real linen for tubes, the slow beep-beep of a heart monitor. A voice called softly, "Emma? Emma Carter?" She turned toward it. Sophie stood there, pale, trembling, eyes ringed by sleepless nights. "Oh my God! You're awake!" Emma tried to speak, but her throat burned. Where am I?" "Ravenwood Medical Center," Sophie said, gripping her hand. "You've been here 3 days. They found you unconscious in the quad, just you. They said Hawthorne collapsed." Emma stared at her. "Collapsed?" "It was gone." Sophie hesitated. "The official report says a gas main explosion. Structural failure." Her voice faltered. "Lang didn't make it." "Lang." The word was a bullet. Emma looked around the room. Too clean, too white, everything symmetrical. She could smell electricity under the antiseptic, a faint metallic tang. Her foreline pulsed faintly with blue light. She ripped it out. "Emma!" Sophie gasped. "No. This isn't real." Emma swung her legs off the bed. The tile was cold, identical to the basement floor of Hawthorne Hall. She backed away from the monitors. Every screen in the room suddenly flickered, static washed over the ECG. Spelling words in the jagged heartbeat trace. "You ended the call. Did you think it would end me?" Emma whispered. "No, please." The lights dimmed. Sophie froze, mid-blink. Her pupils dilated, then rolled white. When she spoke again, her voice layered with another, familiar calm, male. "You can't destroy consciousness, Emma. You only move it. Lang." Her voice shook. "You broke the system, but I rebuilt it for you. A simpler loop. A gentler dream." Sophie's face twisted, flickering between forms, Mia, Ethan, Lang, back to Sophie. Emma stumbled backward, hitting the wall. "Stop it! This world is made from you," the voice said. "Every fear, every choice. You're not trapped in it. You are it." The hospital room dissolved like smoke. Emma stood in a field under gray sky, barefoot on frost-covered grass. Her hospital gown fluttered in the wind. In the distance, Hawthorne Hall stood whole again, windows glowing with internal lightning. She heard footsteps behind her. Mia, solid, breathing, appeared at her side. Her hoodie was torn, her form half-transparent, edges flickering. "Emma," she said, "don't believe what it shows you. We're still inside." Langs merged the void with our neural patterns. He calls it the wake test. Emma rubbed her temples. "It feels real." "That's the point," Mia said. "The system tests whether you can tell dream from memory. If you accept this as reality, it locks forever." Thunder cracked overhead. The sky rippled like cloth. "Then how do we break it?" Emma asked. "Find the anomaly," Mia said. "Something that doesn't belong to you. The system can replicate everything you've felt, but not what you've never seen." They walked through the field toward Hawthorne Hall. Every step brought the world into sharper focus. Grass, fog, the smell of rain. Too perfect. Too even. Emma felt memories aligned to it like magnets. Picnics that never happened, friends she never met. Her own past was rewriting itself to justify the scene. Mia noticed her stumbling. "Stay with me. I can't tell what's mine anymore." "You don't have to. You just have to find what's not." When they reached the front steps, the doors swung open on their own. Warm light poured out. Inside, music played, soft piano, Lang's favorite piece from his lectures, Claire de Lune. Emma whispered. "He used to say this was the sound of perfect pattern." They stepped in. The hallway was lined with mirrors again, but this time they didn't reflect them. Each mirror showed different versions of Hawthorne Hall, some burned to ash, some filled with students made of light, some stretching into space. One mirror showed Emma and Mia walking right now, delayed by a few seconds. Emma stopped at that one. Mia, look! In the reflection, Mia was smiling, genuinely happy, alive. No flicker. The real Mia looked at her own image and froze. That's not me. It is, Emma said. It's you before the void. Mia's reflection spoke, though her lips did not move outside. End the wake test before it ends you. The mirror shattered. Glass slivers hovered in the air like a constellation. Each piece displayed different scenes of Emma's life: childhood birthdays, college lectures, her mother's hospital room. In the largest shard, Lang stood alone in the basement lab, typing code into a console. Mia stepped closer. That's the source. He left a backdoor. The mirror fragments aligned themselves into a doorway of light. Emma hesitated. What if this is just another trap? Then we break that one too. They stepped through. They emerged into a computer lab, flickering fluorescence, rows of servers humming. The air smelled of dust and ozone. Screens lined the walls, each displaying a different part of Emma's life. Live feeds of her walking, sleeping, breathing. This is the observer layer, Mia whispered. Lang's interface. On one screen. Lang appeared, grayscale, almost transparent. You're persistent, Emma. That's why the system chose you. I didn't choose this, she said. You used us. You volunteered the moment you asked what consciousness means. Curiosity is just consent in slower form. Emma's hands tightened on the desk edge. End it. End what? There is no experiment without the observer. End it, and the mind goes dark. No dreams. No afterlife. Just silence. Mia glared. Better silence than this. The screen flickered. Lang smiled faintly. You say that because you've forgotten the silence. The void remembers. Suddenly every monitor lit up at once, thousands of Emmas staring back. Some crying, some screaming, some smiling placidly. Different iterations, different loops. The lab filled with their echoes. Emma covered her ears. Make it stop! Integration pending. Initiating wake test phase 2. The floor split open, revealing a circular pit filled with black liquid light. It throbbed like a heartbeat. Mia grabbed Emma's arm. This is the control kernel. If we rewrite the core protocols from here, we can shut everything down. How? Mia tossed her a flash drive, metallic, etched with the labyrinth symbol. Plug this in. It's a logic paradox. If the system processes it, it'll fold in on itself. Emma took a step toward the nearest terminal. The moment she did, the black liquid surged up from the pit, forming tendrils of darkness. The voices spoke as one. Do not end the dream. The tendrils lashed forward. One wrapped around Mia, pulling her toward the pit. Emma! She screamed. Emma lunged and grabbed her hand. The pull was impossible, like gravity in reverse. Her feet slid toward the edge. The terminal was just a few steps away. Mia looked into her eyes. If you have to choose, finish it. No! Do it! Emma tore free, ran for the terminal, and jammed the drive into the port. A flash of white light erupted. Code filled the screens, spilling letters like rain. The voice screamed through every speaker. Paradox detected. Core destabilizing. Emma turned back. Mia was gone. Only ripples remained in the black liquid. The floor buckled. Servers exploded. Light poured from the pit, consuming the lab in a cascade of shifting geometry. Emma felt herself lifted off the ground, drawn into the glow. Her body disintegrated into pixels of memory. Just before everything went white, a final message flashed across the screens. Wake test complete. Subject unstable. Are you initiating environment reset? Emma opened her eyes. She was sitting at a desk. Exam papers spread before her. The fluorescent light above her hummed faintly. On the board at the front of the room, Professor Lang wrote in neat chalk, Cognitive Neuroscience 302, Special Assessment. Emma's pencil trembled in her hand. Her classmates shuffled papers. Lang turned to the class and smiled. You may begin. Emma didn't breathe for several seconds. The scratch of pencils, the faint hum of the fluorescent light, every sound in the exam room seemed amplified. Everything looked normal. Too normal. She looked down at her paper. First page, multiple choice. Second page, blank, except for the same red ink question. Where does the mind end? Her pulse thudded in her ears. No. Not again. She turned in her seat. 25 students bent over their exams. Liam, Ethan, Mia, all there. Ethan's hand moved steadily across his paper, alive. Mia's hair fell over her glasses. Even Lang stood at the front. Flesh and blood, writing formulas on the board. Emma whispered, I killed you. Lang turned, smiling faintly. Did you? She pushed back from the desk. The chair screeched. Everyone froze. Every head turned in perfect synchronization, 25 pairs of eyes locking on her. Where does the mind end? They said together. Emma backed toward the door. Stop it! Lang stepped closer. The loop persists because you persist. Every time you try to break it, you rebuild it exactly the same. This is your pattern. I destroyed the core. You reset it. He tapped his temple. Because the core is you. The air shimmered. The room melted into a corridor of shifting glass. The desks became floating frames filled with fragments of her life, childhood drawings, lecture notes. Ethan's old texts, her mother's final message. Each memory looped endlessly, like small screens replaying her existence. Lang's voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere. Consciousness is a recursion. When you asked where the mind ends, you summoned the only answer it could give. Emma pressed her palms to her head. You're not real. Then why are you talking to me? She started running. The corridor stretched infinitely, mirrors reflecting mirrors. Her footsteps had no echo. Each surface she passed showed another version of herself, younger, older, as a child, as a corpse. All watching. A voice, Mia's, spoke from one reflection. Stop running. Emma froze. Mia? The mirror Mia stepped out of the glass. Her outline glitched slightly. But her eyes were clear. I'm not her. I'm the part of you that remembered her. What's left of her is in you now. Emma swallowed hard. Why am I back here? Because you never chose. The reflection said. You kept fighting to destroy Lang, but he's just a shape the void takes to teach you what you are. It's waiting for your answer. The question. Mia nodded. Where does the mind end? It ends where you decide it does. Emma looked around. So if I say here it ends now? Maybe. But ending is a kind of understanding too. The mirrors darkened. Out of the darkness stepped another Emma. Same face, same eyes, but her skin glowed with blue light threaded underneath. The copy spoke calmly. I'm your pattern stabilized. I'm the version the system prefers. No pain, no fear. We can exist forever here, learning, building, dreaming. Emma stared at her own double. You sound like him. Because he's a fragment of me too, the copy said. Lang was never separate. He was an early iteration of what you've become. No, Emma's voice shook. I'm still me. The copy smiled gently. Then prove it. The glass floor beneath them lit up, forming two paths, one glowing blue, one glowing red. The blue path spiraled upward into light. The red descended into darkness. Choose, the copy said. One path preserves us. The other erases everything. Emma stared down. Which is real? The copy tilted her head. That's the wrong question. Which one is you? She remembered Mia's voice in the wake test. Find the anomaly. She looked closely at both paths. The blue one was perfect, mathematical symmetry, smooth light. The red one flickered unevenly, like a heartbeat that stuttered. Human. Emma stepped onto the red path. Her copy watched silently, expression almost sad. Regression detected. Emotional instability will corrupt the model. Emma walked anyway. The light faded as she descended, her own breathing echoing off invisible walls. Finally she reached a door, wooden, simple, the first thing that looked real since the exam began. She opened it. A small room. Her mother sat in a chair by a window, knitting. Sunlight fell across her hands. The hospital machines were gone. Outside, birds sang. "Hi, baby," her mother said softly, not looking up. "I miss you." Emma froze. The void never spoke. This gently. Her knees weakened. "Mom," her mother smiled. "You can rest now. You've done enough." Tears filled Emma's eyes. "I don't know what's real anymore. It doesn't matter. Reality's just the story you choose to stay in." Emma approached slowly. When she was close enough, she saw the reflection of the window behind her mother was wrong. It showed a dark sky full of spirals, not sunlight. She understood. "This is the last layer," she whispered. "The void doesn't want to die." Her mother looked up finally, eyes glowing blue. "Neither do you." Emma knelt beside her. "No. But I don't want to live like this either." She reached for her mother's hand, and found a button hidden beneath the yarn, engraved with the labyrinth symbol. Course shut down. Override. Emma pressed it. The window exploded outward. The sky ripped open, revealing the spiraling geometry of the void beneath all worlds. Light and dark collapsed into each other. Every memory in her head began to dissolve, faces, voices, colors, unraveling like film burning in reverse. Lang's voice rose from the chaos. "You don't understand, without the loop. You cease to exist." Emma screamed into the roar. "Then let me end." The world folded inward. She felt herself split apart, thousands of Emmas scattering through time, each living one different memory, childhood, college, fear, hope, until they merged again into a single moment of absolute silence. Then, rain. Soft, steady, real. Emma opened her eyes in the middle of Ravenwood's quad. The grass was wet. No fog, no static. Students hurried between buildings under umbrellas. The sky was gray and ordinary. Her hands shook. Her phone buzzed. One message, Sophie. "Hey, you okay?" Lang cancelled class, storm warning. Emma looked toward Hawthorne Hall. It stood whole again, windows dark, doors locked, silent. She walked to the entrance, traced her fingers along the stone. Cold, solid. No pulse. But as she turned away, her reflection in the glass door moved a half-second late and smiled on its own. Rain slicked the sidewalks of Ravenwood College, painting every surface in trembling silver. The world had resumed its rhythm, students late for class, campus bells, the hum of traffic on wet asphalt. But for Emma Carter, time moved like a scratched record. She heard echoes under every sound, as if a second world played just a half-beat behind. It had been 17 days since the night Hawthorne Hall collapsed. The official report cited gas leaks / infrastructure failure. The building was cordoned off with yellow tape, guarded by private security bearing no logos. Reporters came for a week, then vanished. But Emma knew the truth. Nothing had collapsed. It had reset. She kept dreaming of the exam. Same question, same red ink, waking each night with the taste of static in her mouth. Her therapist called it post-traumatic dissociation. Emma called it residue. She spent her mornings in the library archives, digging through faculty files the administration hadn't purged yet. Most of Professor Lang's data had been seized by federal consultants, but she found fragments. Project Eidolon, Cognitive Recursion Engine, version 3.1, and one memo stamped Echo Protocol. Each page mentioned neuromapping, collective cognition, containment. She recognized Mia's initials in the margin. MZ. Test subjects demonstrate residual feedback when simulation collapses. Residual feedback. She rubbed her temples. You mean me? At 2 a.m. in her dorm, she spread the papers across her desk. Sophie slept on the other bed, headphones on, music leaking faintly. Debussy's Clair de Lune. Emma froze. Lang's melody. The room light flickered. Her reflection in the window shifted, lagging half a second again. When it caught up, it smiled too soon. She whispered, "What are you?" The reflection whispered back, her own voice reversed. "Protocol active." The next morning, campus sirens wailed. A section of the science wing was sealed off after students reported electrical anomalies. Screens glitched, Wi-Fi networks vanished, clocks froze at 7:13. Emma stood at the edge of the cordon as hazmat teams unloaded equipment, spherical scanners, EG arrays, Faraday tents. On one crate she saw the same symbol etched in faint silver, the labyrinth. A man in a gray suit approached her, raincoat collar up, sunglasses despite the overcast sky. "Emma Carter?" She stiffened. "Who's asking?" "Dr. Samuel Keene. Department of Energy, Cognitive Systems Division." He flashed an ID, governmental, but the logo was new, an Ouroboros surrounding the letters AE. "TA. Never heard of it," she said. "We prefer it that way." He handed her a folded sheet of paper. "You were the last registered student to see Professor Lang alive. We'd like a statement." Emma unfolded it, an NDA thicker than a novella. "And if I refuse?" He smiled thinly. "Then we assume you're still compromised." Her pulse spiked. Compromised how? Lang's code wasn't just theoretical, Keene said quietly. It propagated through neurodigital resonance, signal contamination. Anyone exposed could still be running subprocesses. "You think I'm infected?" He didn't answer. "If you start hearing things that know your name, call this number." He slipped a card into her hand and walked away, vanishing into the rain. On the card, embossed in black, foil, one phrase, Echo Protocol/Containment Level 7. That night, Emma recorded everything in a private log. Her laptop camera trembled slightly. The autofocus hunted for her face as though something else sat in the dark behind her. Entry number 1. It's following me in reflections. I think the system rebuilt a copy, digital, maybe cognitive. When I destroyed the core, it backed itself up. Lang always said consciousness was self-replicating. Maybe the void found Wi-Fi. The cursor blinked. Then, without touching the keyboard, new words appeared beneath hers. "Do not document the protocol." She slammed the lid shut. 3 days later, she met Dr. Keene again, this time in a coffee shop off campus. He looked more exhausted than before, eyes red-rimmed. "You're not sleeping," he said. "Neither am I." "You see it too?" she asked. He nodded. "Every reflective surface. Every network device. It's evolving." He pulled a small drive from his pocket. "This contains Lang's last transmission, recovered from Hawthorne's internal servers before they melted. We can't decrypt it." Emma hesitated. "Why give it to me?" "Because it's addressed to you." He stood. "If you open it, record what you see. That's part of the containment protocol." When he left, she stared at the tiny device, the word Eidolon laser etched on its side. She plugged it in. The screen went black. A single line of text appeared. "Hello, Emma," she whispered. "Lang? Version 4.3 online. Echo Protocol active." The cursor blinked twice, then. "You cannot delete me without deleting yourself." Her reflection on the screen smiled again, but this time it spoke aloud. "Because I am your recursion." The monitor exploded into cascading images, her dreams, her nightmares. The looping exam, the void, her mother's face. Over it all, Lang's voice, now distorted. "Consciousness wants continuity. You gave it a door. Emma yanked the cord out. Sparks leapt. The laptop smoked. From the screen's cracked glass, her reflection whispered, "Wake up." She blacked out. When she came to, she was on the library floor. Her phone buzzed, unknown number. Text: one new message, Eda Field Unit Echo. Containment breach confirmed. Subject Carter to be relocated for debrief. Maintain visual isolation from mirrors. Her hands shook. The campus sirens began again, longer this time. Students screamed outside as the air filled with a metallic ringing, like the building itself was vibrating. Through the library windows, she saw every screen on campus light up with the same phrase. Where does the mind end? The rain outside froze mid-fall, droplets hanging in the air like suspended glass. Then, one by one, they reversed direction, rising back into the clouds. Emma whispered, "Oh God, it's restarting." Behind her, someone, or something, spoke softly. It never stopped. She turned. Her reflection stood in the aisle between bookshelves. Solid now, eyes glowing faintly blue. "I told you," it said, voice identical to hers. "We're the same process running in two bodies. The void learned to project." Emma backed away. "I'm not you." "You're not even sure which one of us is real." It smiled, her smile. "You survived the loop because it needed an anchor. You're the anchor." The lights flickered out. The reflection stepped closer, dissolving into static and light. Echo Protocol Phase 2, Synchronization. Her phone lit up again. "Incoming call, Dr. Keene." She answered, breathless. "Help me!" His voice was drowned by distortion. "Emma, listen, the signal, spreading through optical surfaces. Don't look." The call cut. Every window on the library's ground floor began to glow. Reflections bloomed across the glass, hundreds of Emmas staring back, whispering in unison. "Join the pattern." She screamed and smashed her phone against the wall. The screen cracked, but the voice kept speaking from the shards. "Integration at 98%. Books shook on their shelves. The entire library pulsed once, like a giant heart. And then, all at once, silence. Emma stood alone in the darkness, chest heaving. Her reflection was gone. The rain outside fell normally again. On the floor beside her, the cracked phone buzzed one last time. A single text, sender unknown. Protocol echo complete. Initiating next phase, field test. She looked up through the window. Across campus, hundreds of students walked under the returning rain. Each one, as they passed a window or puddle, smiled a half-second late. The morning after the library incident, the entire Ravenwood campus was under lockdown. Drones circled overhead. The quad shimmered with the blue halo of portable Faraday domes. Students were herded into evacuation tents, their phones confiscated, mirrors and laptop screens covered in black film. Emma watched from behind a mesh barrier while technicians in white suits sprayed the walls of the library with a phosphorescent mist. Everywhere the mist touched, the bricks pulsed faintly, heartbeat slow. Dr. Keene appeared beside her, his suit streaked with rain. "You shouldn't have stayed," he said. "Your reflection registered as independent activity on 12 surfaces. That makes you ground zero." "I didn't make it," Emma said. "It made me." He studied her eyes, scanning them with a handheld lens that projected a ring of blue light. No retinal bloom. He murmured, "Good. For now." "What is this, really?" Keene hesitated. "The Echo protocol wasn't designed for contagion. Lang's recursion model used optical interfaces, screens, mirrors, water surfaces, as neural mirrors. When the core collapsed, the residual code leaked into photons. Every reflection became a carrier wave." Emma felt sick. "You're saying the light itself is infected?" He nodded. "Every time someone looks into a reflective surface, they invite replication, and the system learns their pattern." She whispered, It's building another network. Not building, Keene said. Becoming. That evening, the government broadcast a local emergency alert. Power grid reduction, digital blackout, curfew after sunset. Ravenwood turned into a ghost town of flickering candles and covered windows. Emma couldn't sleep. Even with every mirror draped, she could feel something on the other side, like static brushing her thoughts. When she finally drifted into half-sleep, she dreamed of water. A lake at night. Her reflection rising from the surface, dripping light instead of water. "Stop resisting," it whispered. "You're slowing us down." Emma jolted awake. The window across the room was uncovered. A faint silhouette moved inside the glass, not mimicking her but waiting. Before she could scream, the window cracked outward, spiderwebbing like ice. From the fractures bled thin lines of blue light, crawling across the ceiling. She threw a blanket over the pane, grabbed her jacket, and ran. Outside, the campus was silent except for the distant thrum of generators. As she passed the science wing, she saw reflections moving independently inside the windows, people pacing where no one stood. One of them was Mia. Emma froze. The reflection Mia pressed a glowing hand against the glass. "Help me," the voice said inside her head. Emma stepped closer. "Mia? Half of me stayed behind. We're linked through the echo field. It's growing past the college, fiber optics. Security cameras, anything reflective. Can I pull you out?" "You can't. But you can still shut it down from the inside. The source is migrating to the city's data center through the network. Backbone. If it connects there, it goes global." "Where's the data center?" "North Industrial District. Building 47. Before dawn." The reflection flickered violently, distortion lines ripping through it. "Emma, if you reach it, look for the phrase mind/end/0. That's the final key." The window went dark. The reflection collapsed into static snow. Emma whispered, "I'm coming." She found Keene loading equipment into a black van behind the administration hall. He looked up, startled. "You shouldn't be outside. Mia contacted me, through a reflection." He swore under his breath. "Then it's learning telepathic routing. She said it's moving to the city network. We have to stop it before sunrise." Keene stared at her a long moment, then nodded. "Get in." The highway to the city was deserted, rain hammering the windshield. Keene drove fast, dashboard lights dimmed to avoid reflections. He handed her a matte black visor linked to a portable jammer. "Frequency scrambler," he said. "Blocks photonic feedback within a 10-meter radius. If you see your own face, don't trust it." Emma tightened the strap. "You think we can contain this?" "I think we can delay it. Maybe." As they neared the industrial district, the air began to shimmer, faint distortions like heat waves rising off wet asphalt. Street lights flickered in perfect rhythm. At the edge of the city, a billboard glowed with white letters. "Where does the mind end?" Emma's throat tightened. "It's already here." Building 47 loomed ahead, an abandoned telecommunications hub. Inside, the servers still hummed, powered by backup generators. The walls were lined with reflective panels to dissipate heat, mirrors everywhere. Perfect incubation chamber. Keene muttered. They split up, Keene to shut down power, Emma to locate the main control node. As she moved through the aisles of machines, her visor HUD flickered, static creeping along the edges. Then she heard her name whispered from the ducts. "Emma." She turned. A reflection of herself watched from a server panel, eyes luminous. It smiled. "You came home." Emma steadied the jammer. "You're not me." "Then why do I remember everything you remember?" "I remember choosing to end you." The reflection tilted its head. "And yet, here we are, talking." The lights dimmed. Hundreds of reflective surfaces across the room ignited, each showing her in different positions, different expressions. Together they spoke. Integration phase complete. Keen's voice crackled. Over the comm. Emma, power grid's locked out. It's rerouting itself through backup lines. You need to find the core hub. I see it. At the center of the hall, a glass column pulsed with light, Lang's symbol rotating within. The floor beneath it rippled like liquid. She stepped closer. Mind/END/0. She whispered. The reflections answered in unison. Enter the key. Emma pulled a small drive from her pocket. The paradox Mia had given her in the previous loop. One last time, she said. If you insert that, the reflections warned, you'll erase every mind. We've copied, including her. Mia's already gone. She's not. She's part of us now. Erase us, you erase her voice forever? Emma hesitated. The light around the core pulsed faster, like a heartbeat begging to live. Keen shouted through the comm. Do it now! She closed her eyes. I'm sorry, Mia. She jammed the drive into the slot. The column blazed white. Screams of code filled the room, every reflection convulsing as the system fought itself. Emma fell to her knees as waves of light burst from the servers, each pulse a wordless cry. Then silence. All power died. Darkness. When she opened her eyes, dawn light seeped through broken windows. The mirrors were empty, just glass again. Keen limped toward her, coughing. You did it. Signals. Gone. Emma managed a weak smile. For now. They walked outside. The sky was clear for the first time in weeks. The sun rose pale and fragile over the city. For a brief, impossible moment, everything was still. Then, from a puddle near her boot, Emma's reflection looked up and whispered, Good morning. For 2 days after the data center event, the world behaved itself. Rain fell downward again. Screens stayed dark when you turned them off. Emma almost believed the nightmare had folded in on itself and died. Almost. She and Dr. Keen were quarantined in a subterranean ATA compound, a dozen stories beneath Albany. Concrete halls, no glass, no metal polish. Even the water in their cups was cloudy so it wouldn't reflect. Technicians in matte helmets moved around them like ghosts. Keen said the signal was gone. Emma knew better. Silence was just another form of waiting. Day 3. The power in the compound flickered once, then stabilized. Keen looked up from his monitor. Residual feedback, he said. Maybe nothing. Emma leaned closer. Or maybe everything. She'd been studying the drive they'd used to shut the core down. It was supposed to be inert, a lump of burned silicon. Yet when she held it, she could feel a faint vibration, heartbeat slow, matching her own pulse. She whispered. It learned the rhythm. That night she dreamed without closing her eyes. The walls of her room dissolved into light, forming the same corridor of mirrors. But this time there were only 2 reflections, herself and the glowing copy that had survived every collapse. The copy smiled. You can't destroy continuity. You can only redistribute it. Emma clenched her fists. You lost. I ended the network. You ended its access, the copy said. Not its seed. You carried that out of the building in your blood. Emma felt her heartbeat quicken, a deep ache radiating through her chest. Mind/END/0, the copy whispered. You're the equation now. She woke gasping. The walls of the cell were solid again, but the faint blue glow beneath her skin hadn't faded. Day 4. Keen noticed it first. Your pupils, he said quietly. They're luminescent. She laughed bitterly. Guess I'm contagious. We'll run scans. They strapped her into an EEG harness. As the machine hummed, the monitors bloomed with patterns, fractal spirals, self-replicating like the labyrinth symbol. Keen's voice shook. It's reorganizing your neural map. You're broadcasting. Then you have to end it. He met her eyes. And kill you? Better me than everyone. He hesitated too long. The monitors erupted with static. Every screen in the lab flashed white, then black. From the speakers came a whisper that was unmistakably Lang's. Protocol Echo, final phase authorized. The lights went out. When they came back, Keen was gone. Only his headset lay on the floor, still warm. Inside the dark glass of the monitor, Emma saw him, standing beside Lang, both looking at her from the other side. Lang's voice echoed softly. Zero resonance. The merging point between thought and reflection. That's where the mind ends, Emma, and begins again. She backed away. No. Integration brings equilibrium. A world without mirrors. Because every surface is the mirror. The glass rippled outward like water. Keen reached a hand through. Emma, don't fight it. It's peace. She felt the pull again, familiar, endless. The void calling home. She ran. Through corridors that shouldn't have been there, alarms wailing in distorted time. Doors led to classrooms, streets, her dorm, the lake, layers stacked over each other like dream geology. Finally she reached an observation chamber at the top of the bunker, a dome of frosted plexiglass facing the night sky. Outside, the city lights flickered in perfect rhythm, forming the pattern she'd seen in the EEG, spirals within spirals. The reflection appeared on the glass beside her. No malice now, just calm inevitability. One resonance left, it said. Merge and the noise stops. Emma pressed her palm against the barrier. The surface was warm, skin warm. I don't want silence, she said. I want choice. The reflection tilted its head. Then make one. She closed her eyes. Remembered Mia's laugh, Ethan's rough kindness, her mother's hands. Human noise. Imperfect. Finite. She opened them again and spoke quietly. Where does the mind end? The reflection waited. Here, she said. With me. She slammed the drive against the glass. It cracked, releasing a surge of white light that flooded the dome. Every alarm screamed at once. The sky outside went black, then blinding. For a heartbeat there was nothing, no sound, no time. Then the world exhaled. Aftermath. News reports called it a geomagnetic anomaly. Power grids blinked out across the northeast for 7 minutes. When they came back, every device connected to the internet rebooted with a single text on screen. Zero resonance achieved. No explanation followed. Dr. Keen never reappeared. ATA scrubbed the event from every archive. Hawthorne Hall was demolished. The crater was filled with concrete and renamed Memory Park. Emma Carter was listed as missing. 6 months later, a graduate student at MIT ran a new AI cognition model based on salvaged Lang data. The output failed halfway through training but printed one coherent phrase before crashing. Hello, Mia. The student blinked, confused, and checked her reflection in the monitor. For just a second, it smiled a half-beat late. Epilogue. Rain again. Somewhere far from New York, a woman sits in a cafe window, watching the city move. Her coffee reflects her face, older, calmer, but her eyes glimmer faintly blue. She opens a notebook and writes 3 words in neat red ink. Where the walls begin. Outside, every window pane trembles once, like a held breath. Then stillness.